We have started to record the most recent session of SPCH 1113, Introduction to Public Speaking, for the first summer session. It is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. This week is going to be Tuesday through Friday only to make up for Memorial Day. But for the last 4 weeks of the course, including this one, we are going to focus on a particular speech. This week, it is the demonstrative speech. In just a moment, I'm going to go to Blackboard in the student preview mode and show you the process by which for each of the final 4 weeks of the term, we are going to prepare research, topic selection, speech 1, day 1, speech 2, day 2. So without any further ado, let's go to the student preview mode on Blackboard with the stipulation that a demonstrative speech is a how-to. You're starting at the beginning of a process and going chronologically until the end. On my website, there are a number, and my YouTube channel, of outstanding topics in terms of outlines, audio, or video, depending upon the technology that people had on their computers at the time. Not everything that you give me is going to be posted online, but representative samples. And that's what we're going to be looking at today, primarily Monday and Tuesday of each week for informing, for persuading, for wildcard in this week, today, Tuesday, and tomorrow, Wednesday, looking at topics, looking and listening at presentations to give you bases of analysis by which you can choose your own topics and the practice that you're going to be needing for the content, the delivery, and the visuals of each. Blackboard is first. As you're well aware, it's really important that repetition is a part of your study habits, especially during the summer. Always keep in mind that each week this is going to be updated. Look under announcements. I have it specifically targeted to this week, May 31st, Tuesday, until June 3rd, Friday. And the recorded archives of the course, as you're well aware, are going to be available to access in this location at Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Here you see the live course sessions for the week. Go to the vertical bars at the menu, click on recordings, and you can see what we did for the first day of the class, the second day, and what we did on Thursday with effective content, delivery, and visuals. But in your case, there have been a couple of updates. Go to course syllabus. The itinerary for the week is as follows. Demonstrative speech research is today. Demonstrative speech topic selection is tomorrow, where we will, among other things, look at a variety of demonstrative speech subjects that people have done over the past few years. And then we have demonstrative speech day 1 on Thursday and demonstrative speech day 2 on Friday. And I always try to do this within the first few minutes of each course so everyone knows exactly what days they are going to be speaking. With that in mind, we return to the syllabus. And this is new, the course speech schedule. We are still at 14 people in the class. To the best of my knowledge, virtually everyone has logged in to Blackboard. This is going to be the listing for the term. All of the names are on the screen. Our day 1 people on Thursday of this week in 48 hours will be submitting their demonstrative speeches. We will be watching them in class. Burgess, Davis, Easter, French, Glover, Graves, and Griffin. And then as we move on to the bottom of the screen, day 2, demonstrative speech on Friday, June 3rd, Jones, Kemp, Martin, Pearson, Reina Garcia, Vickers, and Wright. So again, in 48 hours, the demonstrative speeches will be Burgess, Davis, Easter, French, Glover, Graves, and Griffin. On Friday, Jones, Kemp, Martin, Pearson, Reina Garcia, Vickers, and Wright. And at the bottom, you can see me say, quote, keep me appraised regularly so I may be of assistance during your respective speech preparation processes. Thanks. So please make certain that you're accessing this data regularly so you know exactly when your presentations are going to be submitted. And now what I want to do is to remind you from the actual syllabus itself where you're going to be sending the information. So at the syllabus, which is right up on top, you will go to the final page, look under supplemental information. And right there where it says digital imprint, the instructor website, which more than likely I will show you before the end of class, and Speech 1113 on Twitter. But the electronic submission of assignments does not, a reminder, does not go to my SAU email address. It goes to my Yahoo address, Prof. James Reppert, SAU at yahoo.com. And before we go any further, just in case any of you did not see what my Yahoo address looks like, here is where all of the material that you're going to be sending me, whether it be a link to your YouTube channel or to Loom, this is what it looks like when I see it. Everything that you send is going to wind up right here. As you can see, the last time I taught the basic public speaking course was from the summer of 2021 during the first summer session. Look on the far right hand side. You can see all of the dates, primarily from the month of June in 2021. But everything that you send is going to go to the Yahoo address because I save everything, as you can see where the cursor is, in this particular part of the file. And I like to get all of this digital material out of the way relatively early so there's no confusion about where you send the data. So there's speech evaluations. If I just scroll down to, let's say, the first week of June from last year, eventually you're going to see people sending me, there's a demonstrative speech, and there is the link if I wanted to go to Loom. Same thing here. This is how to make pancakes. PowerPoint slideshow, and then there's a video that's associated with it. So keep in mind with the demonstrative speech, it is a process. How something works, how something operates. It's intentionally designed for you to get off to the right foot in a class like this. Now, when you're looking for particular items for speeches, I'm going to be doing all of this primarily from Google Drive as we go beyond my YouTube channel for the first two examples of demonstrative speeches. But what all of you can do, remember, you've got the link to my website on the syllabus where it says instructor website. When you click on that link, this is what you see. From this point, you just scroll all the way down. This is the mass communication website. For anyone who's interested in being a major, most of the items that you submit at one point or another within the major are going to be posted on my website in one form or another. But all the way down at the bottom, you will see the basic public speaking course and the advanced public speaking course. So I will go all the way down to the bottom. There is the advanced public speaking course that is offered every spring semester. But for your benefit, right here, Introduction to Public Speaking, all of these items open in separate windows. The course speech schedule, the course itinerary, course examples of speeches from spring of 2020 during the pandemic. Those are all links to YouTube that I showed you last week. The checklist, which is an informal guide, the syllabus. And then here, all different kinds of demonstrative speech outlines, demonstrative speech videos, demonstrative speech audios, because some people don't have webcams or their webcams don't work, and other projects that have been completed during the term. But there's also an addition on the website. If you continue to scroll down all the way within this window, you're going to eventually find all of the classes that are also available for viewing on Blackboard. All the way down at the bottom. That was the class session from Wednesday of last week, which is video A. Video B is, this was Tuesday of last week, video A. This was Wednesday, video B, and then Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All of the videos from class will be posted on this website as well as being available on Blackboard. They all open in different windows. My lighting looks a little bit different because I tweaked it over the weekend, so it'll be a little bit brighter, at least in the background. But that's where you can find all of the material for the course: video, audio, outlines. Tomorrow we'll be doing more of a deep dive into outline construction, but today we're basically at the website or on Google Drive going to be focusing on more videos and some audios of demonstrative speeches themselves. So what are we looking at when we get to an actual process, how something works, how something operates, something that you feel comfortable talking about, something that you might have as a hobby? It could be cooking, it could be crafting, it could be something else. Depending upon the topic, there may be some interactivity with a video clip or with any type of interactivity with the website, but it really all depends upon what you are interested in. Let's go to Google Drive first of all. This is the area in which I will submit all of the materials and upload them. The icons look a little bigger here than on my website, but it's basically the same thing. The syllabus, the checklist, course examples from spring 2020, the course itinerary, the course speech schedule, which we've all seen just to show you what it looks like on my Google Drive. That's what it looks like whenever I examine the itinerary or the course speech schedule. Burgess, Davis, Easter, French, Glover, Graves, Griffin for day 1 all the way during the term, day 2 all the way during the term, Jones, Kemp, Martin, Pearson, Reyna Garcia, Vickers, and Wright. Repetition is a big part of a class like this because I just want all of you to remember, whether you're day 1 or day 2, get yourself into the mindset of how you're going to be putting material together. All of these topics that you see are representative of what people have done for demonstrative speeches. Some are cooking, some are crafting, some deal with exercise, some deal with an element of their life that they really enjoy. And we're going to be getting into these in great depth in a couple of minutes. But the first thing that I want to do is to go to my YouTube channel. Because remember, at the YouTube channel, I place at least one representative example, depending upon the term, a demonstrative, an informative, a persuasive, and a wildcard presentation. The first speech that you are going to see today, that is demonstrative. is from the spring semester of 2021. It is from someone who is teaching a dog a new trick. This is her presentation, and she's doing it on Loom. Now, before we actually watch the two speeches, one from the spring on teaching a dog a new trick, the other one from the fall semester of 2020, which is how to prepare for international travel, notice the way that this is set up. You have the speaker in Loom placing her webcam at the bottom left-hand portion of the screen. Why is something like this important? Obviously, time management is crucial here for any major graded speech in my or any other public speaking course. But because we're doing it online, ideally, unless you don't have access to a webcam, we want to see you. So many of the speeches that you do via Loom are helpful because you can look at your webcam while also examining your slides. You can look at your slides and then maintain eye contact all the way through. It may not necessarily be perfect because there will be some anomalies in your speaking style as you feel more comfortable speaking to a webcam. But how can you access Loom? I showed you this the other day. This is what the website looks like. It is called Video Messaging for Work. When you're at this website, you can get a free subscription, and the free subscription is for either 28 days or for 30 days. So if you get a free subscription this week, you're going to have an unlimited time element. So if you speak for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, you're not going to be overly concerned as you would if you got a free subscription during the fall or during the spring, because after that free designated time, usually the free time goes to exactly 5 minutes. But go ahead, if this is what you want to use other than YouTube, and download it and just start to experiment. I'm not big on tutorials. I think just experimenting is probably the best way to go about it. And then you can incorporate this into primarily Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Slides. And probably the first week, you're going to feel more comfortable the more that you practice, because keep in mind, what you're going to be sending me on Thursday for day 1 or on Friday for day 2 this week is going to not necessarily be the first take. You're going to experiment. Where do you want the webcam? Do you want it in the upper left-hand corner, the bottom left-hand corner, the upper right-hand corner, the bottom right-hand corner? If I'm in this class, I'm probably going to experiment and put it in the upper right-hand corner, because oftentimes whenever you're putting slides together, the one place where there's a dead spot is usually in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. But as you can see, you can record your screen and camera at the same time. It just is very, very helpful. Notice the way it is here. That's probably how I would do it. But experiment, and then whenever you're putting your slides together for whatever the topic is, you want to make certain that the slides are done in such a way, whether it be on bullet points or whether it be with primarily graphics, that it is stimulating the abilities to be extemporaneous in conversation. Now, will it be perfect? Probably not. There may be some dropped G's. There may be some issues with grammar, gonna, wanna, kinda. There may be issues with vocalics, ers, ahs, ums, us, you know. But that's where the practice is going to be so helpful, and that's why for this class intentionally we have the self-evaluation speech critique, because with an online course, how are you communicating? Do you come across as a thoughtful, knowledgeable, poised speaker? And it's going to come through two things: proper ability to put the slides together, and then part of it is just practice. The more that you practice, the more comfortable you'll be. And as I've said on 2 occasions so far, at minimum last week, because all of you grew up in the social media era, whether it be TikTok or FaceTime or any social media app of your choice, you're on camera all the time. Now it's a more formalized version of conversation, which brings us back to the first example via Loom of a demonstrative speech. This one is a little bit longer than usual, but that's okay. This one's a little bit more than 9 minutes. As you noticed, it's teaching a dog a new trick. We will watch this with closed captioning on. Is she speaking in complete sentences? And also pay attention closely to the way in which she is demonstrating the process. What makes you feel more comfortable looking into the camera, making certain that you are speaking in complete sentences? How are the visuals stimulating that conversational ability throughout the presentation? So this is the first of our demonstrative speeches for the day, teaching your dog a new trick, with closed captioning on to check for complete sentence structure. Also notice the eye contact that she's making during the presentation and where she is looking, because then you'll be able to see where she has her graphics for the slideshow.
Hello, my name is Taylor Ivy, and this is my demonstrative speech for Introduction to Public Speaking. And I will be showing you how to teach your dog a new trick. So this is Rowan, my 1-year-old dog, and I have been training him since he was about 8 weeks old, and he will be helping us show you and explain how to teach your dog a new trick. So teaching tricks is not just for puppies, although sometimes it's easier because they are more food motivated or toy motivated. But also, if you think about it, older dogs have longer attention spans and puppies have very short attention spans. So it's harder for them to keep concentrated when you are trying to teach them new tricks, even though they are more food motivated. And you always start off with the basics first. You always want to teach them how to sit first, then lay down, then stay. And the last two, load up and back, are just my personal basics for Rowan, because when he was a puppy, I would take him to work every single day to get him acquainted with the vet office. And if I did not have a blanket over the seat before he jumped in there, he would get my truck all muddy from the grass and stuff that he would run through. So I had to teach him, give him a cue as to when I wanted him to load up into the truck. And that was the perfect way. Also, he would sometimes be in my seat instead of his seat that he was supposed to be in. So I taught him how to back up pretty much. And even if he's on the ground, he knows that that's gives me space. So these are my basics. It might change for you, but sit, lay down, and stay are the pretty much basics that pretty much all dogs need to know for basic life. And these are so important for, one, my example of Rowan loading up in the truck, also for going to the vet clinic. In this video, I have me trimming Rowan's nails at my work, which is at the vet clinic. And a lot of dogs are very stressed out when they come to the vet clinic. But if they just know a few tricks, or just, it'll calm them down so much and give us, it's not only good for us, for the dogs to know some tricks, but it's also good for them. It keeps them calmer and they're more comfortable around us if they do. And they need to be acquainted with people also. But tricks are the most important. And when I pushed on his side just a second ago, that was my cue that I used to teach him how to lay down and roll over. And it just helps him relax on the side, so I get more access to his paws when he lays over. And before we start, I want to tell y'all a few things that you need to remember. You need to be aware of your body language. So if you walk towards your dog and you put most of your body pressure, not physically, but when you walk towards them and you go towards them. Just that's it. And your dog sits down because all of his body weight goes to his back end, and it causes him to sit down. That's the basic of how to, that's the body language basic on how to get your dog to sit down on cue. So you would start by having him, putting your body weight towards him, having him sit, and then treating him for that. And then later you would add in a voice command. And you have to be very calm and keep very patient, because sometimes it takes days for dogs to learn tricks. Some dogs, depending on the trick, it might take them 30 minutes to an hour. But you never know. Your dog may take a few days, and you might do short intervals each day to get him to pay attention more, if he has a shorter attention span than some dogs. Rowan, it will take me an hour to teach him the basics of a new trick, but it'll take over a few days for him to understand the voice command that goes with that trick. And each time your dog does a small step in the right direction, you want to reward them. For example, like I said, a treat or a toy for puppies, and whatever your older dog likes the best, you would use that. So that also goes with positive reinforcement. So you would use a treat or a toy. Those are really good tools for positive reinforcement. And you always want to reward a step in the right direction, like I said. First, they'll do small steps, or even you have to get them to do it yourself. But once you reward them, they'll start figuring out, if I do this, when they do this body position, then I get a treat, or I get to play with my toy. They'll learn that, and then they'll learn, hey, this means this, and I get it rewarded. It's a good thing. So after a while, they start understanding better, and you don't have to direct them near as much to get them to do the trick. So you need to expect a little bit more and more as you go, but still be patient with it, because some dogs take a little bit longer. This is Rowan explaining to us. This is his favorite toy on the floor, and these are his favorite treats, and those are the ones I usually use. If you don't have treats, you can use kibble, little pieces of their food, especially if they're really food motivated. That works perfectly. And like I was saying, you need to start small. Don't expect very much, because they don't know it yet. So you want to direct them a lot at first. And then slowly, very slowly, depending on their learning, how good they learn and how good they pick up on stuff, you will start expecting more and directing less. And take good breaks in between when he or she does the trick, or even makes a good improvement with the trick. And after they got a good understanding of the body movement that you're using to get them to do something, add a voice command in there. So if you're teaching them how to sit, and you get them to sit on their butt, and they know that every single time they do it really easy when you do the body movement, then you start adding the word sit in there. So when they sit, you say, good boy, sit, and then give them a treat after you say it, so that they know that's what that means. It's not just the body movement. When they say that, I should sit, and then I get a reward for it. This is Rowan showing us how he learned to lay down. So I will take my hand, put it in front of his face, then put my hand flat on the ground. That is showing him how to lay down. And it's the body movement that I use to teach him how to lay down. And then for another example, this is how I taught him to shake. I would just grab his paw, shake it, say good boy, then give him the treat. And all different tricks have these little things that will slowly incorporate the tricks, so that they start understanding and use those cues, either body movements or verbal cues, to do that trick. But you always want to reward them in a little step in the right direction, and after a while, this is how Rowan tries to shake now. So he knows that he gets a treat whenever he shakes my hand, so he wants to shake my hand all the time. So depending on the trick, especially if your dog's food motivated, if he or she learns the trick, they will always want to do that trick to get food. And that's the mindset that you want them to have about that trick. And thank you for watching. This is my demonstrative speech for Introduction to Public Speaking. Thank you.
And that's the end of her presentation. What did she do here that was really interesting? The incorporation of video from her cell phone that she placed onto slides. Now, depending upon what your topic is, that may be something that you want to experiment with, but it's not necessarily a requirement. One of the things that I do, as you're well aware, is to go back to front and examine certain elements of the speech. Sometimes it's going to be the content, sometimes it's going to be the delivery, sometimes it's going to be the visuals. Notice when we get to the end of the presentation how she incorporates one last bit of video from her phone to demonstrate a trick.
Verbal cues to do that trick. But you always want to reward them in
Look on the right-hand
a little
side.
step in the right direction, and after a while, this is how Rowan tries to shake now. So he knows that he gets a treat whenever he shakes my hand, so he wants to shake my hand all the time.
Very clever use. Now we'll mute the audio. Very clever use of video for the sequencing of the demonstrative speech. Going through the process of teaching your dog a new trick, and then at the end, showing the fruits of her labors. And then when we move back, notice all of the different bullet points that she has along with graphics. Steps in the right direction. She's got 4 major points with a subpoint. Doesn't necessarily mean she's going to mention every last item word for word, but in terms of time management, it gives her flexibility. And then we continue to move back, bottom left-hand corner. Her eye contact is pretty consistent throughout the presentation, showing you that she's done quite a bit of research and quite a bit of delivery practice. And then we move back to positive reinforcement. 3 different bullet points. Again, look at her eye contact. Most of the time she is relatively consistent. And then before we start, be aware of your body language, be patient. When small steps are awarded, they turn into even larger steps. And then back here, still on before we start. And why is it so important? Now remember here, she is actually showing you video of the dog being groomed. So let's go back just a little bit and bump up the audio. Notice the video is still in process. Let's unmute and play.
And stay are the pretty much basics that pretty much all dogs need to know for basic life. And these are so important for
Again, look at the right-hand side.
My example of Rowan loading up in the truck. Also for going to the vet clinic. In this video, I have me trimming Rowan's nails at my work, which is at the vet clinic. And a lot of dogs are very stressed out when they come to the vet clinic. But if they just know a few tricks, or just, it'll calm them down so much and give us, it's not only good for us, for the dogs to know some tricks, but it's also good for them. It keeps them calmer and they're more comfortable around us if they do. And they need to be acquainted with people also.
So there you can see the process by which the dogs are being clipped. And if any of you have animals, you know that it is, as she mentions, a stressful time. You'll also note that in that last phrasing, There were a couple of instances where she paused, but she didn't necessarily have a vocalic, trying to figure out what she wanted to say next. So that is good for a demonstrative speech if you're not getting into the ers, ahs, ums, and uhs. Just pause, think about what you want to say, and continue. Those are some of the basics within the first 2 minutes of the speech. And then we get to the treats are not just for puppies. There's a puppy shot, and then to the beginning of the speech with the eye contact. So that is one of the demonstrative speeches from the past couple of years that is available on my YouTube channel. The second one I want to show is intentionally from the first summer session of last year. This is Sierra, and she is looking at home interior decor color scheme. Everyone's going to have a different style when they put their presentations together. And Sierra is no different, but in the same way that you saw colorful, thoughtful slides put together in a process from beginning to end for teaching a dog a new trick, you're seeing the same thing here. In the case of Taylor, her presentation was from the spring of 2021. In the case of Sierra, this is exactly 1 year ago this week. Timer, upper left-hand portion of the screen. Sierra decides to put her visual from the webcam in the bottom left-hand corner. As you saw from Taylor, this is in closed captioning, and Sierra does a really nice job, as did our previous speaker, at giving a thoughtful, demonstrative process, in this case, for home interior decor. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Sierra Putney. Today I'll be giving my demonstrative speech on how to pick a color scheme for your home interior decor. So why can't you just wing it? Well, you could, but I can't guarantee that you'll achieve the effect that you desire from doing so. You might end up with results like these: tackiness, a whole lot of patterns. If that's what you like, then that's okay. But if you want to achieve a more professional, less busy, but more chic look, then you're going to want to plan. Planning also keeps you from wasting money and spending unnecessary time on projects that aren't going anywhere. The first thing you're going to want to do is pick a color. It could be your favorite color, or a color that's been on your mind a lot lately, or it could be a color that you know looks good on you, so it must look good around you. It doesn't matter how you pick the color, just pick it and then place it aside because it's going to come in handy later on. Next, you're going to want to decide what kind of vibe you're trying to achieve. This means the theme that you're going for. So are you going for cool or warm? Warm colors such as red, orange, and yellow are usually associated with inviting or welcoming spaces. So this would be nice for places like the kitchen or the living room or a playroom. Cool colors such as purple and blue are associated with calmness and relaxation. So you might want to put these colors in places such as an office or a bedroom, places where you want to be relaxed and calm. The next thing you're going to want to do is examine the colors around you. This could mean looking at cabinets and floors. The reason you're going to want to do this is because cabinets and floors usually have, or sometimes have, warm or cool undertones. And you might want to work around those undertones, or you might want to change the cabinets and floors completely to fit what you want. You're also going to want to look at your trim. Here's a color tip for those types of things. Black and white are classic colors and they go great together. But if you ever want to put them separately or use them separately, then you should remember that black is considered warm and white is considered cool. Actually, crisp white is considered cool. Off-white is considered warm. So if you have, say, trim that's off-white, you're going to want to use a warm color for the walls because cool colors can make the trim look kind of dirty, and you don't want that. So once you've examined that around you, then you're going to want to choose your first neutral. And that's okay if your first neutral is white, like we just talked about, because this is going to be your trim. And if you're okay with the trim you already have, then you're just going to want to take note of that trim's color and use it for spaces such as cabinets, the inside of cabinets and closets, those type of things. After you choose your first neutral, you're going to want to choose your main neutral. And this is going to make up 60% of the color that people see throughout your home and that you see throughout your home. So it's going to revolve around that cool or warm theme that we talked about early in the presentation. Let's say you picked a cool theme, so you might want to use a light blue to work with that theme. Many people like to use beige, white, or gray because those are safe colors for main neutrals. If you're someone who can't decide on a cool or warm theme, then you might want to use a transitional neutral, which is a neutral that's going to work well with just about any theme you want to do. If you want to do various warms and cool themes throughout your home, then you might want to use a transitional neutral. The last thing you're going to do is you're going to pick two colors and a third one, which is optional. The first color is going to be that color from the very beginning of this presentation. It's that color that's your favorite or that you've been thinking about lately. And it's going to have a very small presence. This is going to be significantly less present than that main neutral we just talked about. It's going to be maybe on the walls of the kitchen or the bathroom or little accessories. In the photo, you can see that pink is the color that they chose, and it's in the bathroom. Or maybe the curtains. It's not overwhelming. It's not taking up too much of the photo. It's just there to complement what's already there. Speaking of a complement, the second color is going to complement the color that you just chose, and it's going to be even less present. When we're talking about complementing that color, you're going to maybe want to actually choose a complementary color. And so for that, you're going to need a color wheel. A complementary color is going to be directly across from that color that you first chose. So in this case, we chose pink, and a complementary color might be green. So you might want to put green throughout that pink bathroom or something like that. If you don't want to, say, cross and go into a cool color when you started with warm, then you might want to choose an adjacent color like red. So that's pretty much the idea of complementing the color that you first picked. The last color is just going to be an accent. It's mainly for if you have a monochromatic room, which is a room that's basically one color, and you just want to make it pop a little bit, just a little something here or there. It's like a little unexpected surprise. It's pleasant, but it doesn't take up too much. Now that you have all your colors, you're good to go, and you can record them and use them to decorate and paint. So just remember that this is supposed to be fun. This is not a strict set of rules, and it's just a guide. So if you want to tone up some colors or tone down some colors, then that's perfectly fine. Do what's best for you at the end of the day. Thank you for watching.
Now, what I appreciate what Sierra did there is she gets to the end of her speech, says thank you, and then pauses a couple of seconds. She doesn't wrap it up right away, just 1001, 1002, 1003, off. She was very succinct with her conclusion. She makes her points. Now, hopefully, you're ready to start decorating. I am paraphrasing, but that's basically what she did. In the middle of the left-hand side, you can see that her time was right around 7 minutes. She starts at 000 on Loom and then moves forward. So what is she doing here? Minimal graphics, maximizing her extemporaneous ability, That and the fact that she is thoughtful and knowledgeable all the way through the presentation. So as we did with Taylor, let's just move back and look at a lot of items. What do you notice? She did have a vocalic because there is an The more that you practice, the more those will be eliminated. But most importantly, for the benefit of the self-evaluation speech critique at the end of the term, it's going to give you the opportunity to pause, to always be smooth, and to realize not only in your everyday conversation, but everyone else's, how many times people drop G's, say little things that you may not have been aware of before watching yourself to a great degree when recording on the format of your choice. Sierra's got nice eye contact all the way through. Here she is with creative topic selection for the slide, 2 colors and 1 optional color. So not only does she have the headline that she can talk from, she's got 3 different elements of text, and then she's got 4 different visuals on that one slide, giving her the opportunity here, 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 and here. 7 different items on which she can remain extemporaneous. She doesn't necessarily always have to talk about every color and every optional color, but it gives her, to use a different phraseology here, it gives her options in terms of time management to talk about at the time the slide comes up what she thinks is appropriate. Because when you practice for all of these different takes, it will never exactly look and sound the same, which is certainly acceptable. Looking directly at the camera, as you saw with Taylor, same here. As we move back to the main neutral, 5 different visuals. Examine the colors you have around you. 3 different visuals, 3 different bullet points. Sometimes, as you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, there will be automatic chapters placed on your topics. I don't do it. We didn't see it on Taylor, but I suppose it may depend upon the topic itself. And then we move back to what were you trying to achieve? What is determined as a warm or a cool color? With examples on the bottom in both basically a middle blue and then something that has more of a rustic feel or a fall feel to me on the right-hand side of the screen. And then moving back to picking a color, what works for you? Why can't I just wing it? It may look, well, tacky. I suppose that's why sometimes people hire interior decorators. Again, eye contact consistent. And then there is her title slide. Picking a home color scheme for home interior decor, simplified. Those are 2 examples on Loom of how you can place your face into the graphics, whether it be on Google Slides, whether it be on Microsoft PowerPoint. A lot of individuals now are experimenting with Canva, C-A-N-V-A, which is newer. There may be some of you who feel more comfortable recording on YouTube and then submitting a YouTube link. And really what I want to do during the first few class periods is just make you start thinking about what would feel best for you. These 2 demonstrative speeches from 2021 were both on Loom. Now I'm going to show you one that was produced in the fall of 2020 from someone who decided he was more comfortable as a volunteer fireman to do it on YouTube. That was the topic of his speech, and we'll put that up on the screen. This is Matt, and as I recall, he said he recorded this in the multimedia area of his church. His topic is how to put the wet stuff on the red stuff. Fall 2020. The camera is a little bit askew, but that's okay. He felt more comfortable doing it this way. Basically, as you saw last week with Mackenzie Turner from the spring of 2020, doing it from her living room in Texas in the middle of the pandemic. Matt has decided to take his computer, hook it up to a widescreen TV in a multimedia area, and present his speech to a cell phone. Again, whatever makes you feel most comfortable. Like everyone, regardless of format, this was recorded on a variety of occasions, and he submitted what he felt was his best take. So this is a demonstrative speech on being a volunteer fireman. Here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. My name is Matt Huffman, and tonight I'm going to be doing a demonstrative speech on a very technical term that we use in the fire department, and that is how to put the wet stuff on the red stuff. A little bit about my background so that you know that I know what I'm talking about. I am one of 2 assistant chiefs at the Appleton Volunteer Fire Department. I've been on the department since 2008. I am a medical first responder certified by the state of Arkansas. I'm also a storm spotter certified by the National Weather Service. Some of my responsibilities, I train new members that get on the department and also do refresher courses on pump ops, stuff like that for other members on the department. I also approve members to operate the apparatus that they're going to be using. I need to feel confident that they're confident in knowing what they do, and then I'll approve them to operate that apparatus. So just like any how-to video, you have to have ingredients. So one of our ingredients is for a pumper. This is our pumper at Appleton. It's pumper 851. It is a 1995 Pierce Dash. We've had this apparatus since 2018. It is the first pumper out on structure fires that are inside of our district, vehicle fires, vehicle extrications, stuff like that. It is also our second pumper on mutual aid. We have 2 other pumpers, but this one is our second truck that goes out to mutual aid for other departments on their structure fires, just if they need that truck. It has a 1,500 gallon per minute water pump and a 750 gallon tank. You're also going to need a pager for when that tone drops. Not music, but your fire tone. Your fire pager, your county dispatch, they use that to contact us. Each county department has their own tone, so that way whenever the dispatcher hits that button for that department, everybody knows that that's their department, and your pager will go off. Dispatch will tell you, hey, you have a structure fire or whatever at whatever address that it's at. Then each member will respond. So I want to set up a little scenario for you, just kind of get your imaginative juices flowing and kind of feel what it's like to be a volunteer firefighter. So you're asleep, 1:30 in the morning, pager goes off for a structure fire at 1234 Pine Street. Your dispatch tells you that. You're asleep in your own bed because most volunteer fire departments, we do not sleep at the station. That's mainly the paid guys. So you're going to get dressed, run out the door, jump in your vehicle, and to the station you go. So you are one of 3 firefighters that arrive at the station first. You're going to go to the pumper. The senior firefighter that's going to be there, he's probably going to assign you to be the operator of the pump. So you and him and the other guy get in the pump, and away you go to the scene. So you're going to arrive on scene. How to operate the pump? You're going to stop that apparatus safely. We don't need you sliding in sideways, taking out cars, or the homeowner standing there watching his house burn. That probably wouldn't be too good for you or him. You're going to place your truck in neutral. Set your park brake. Little yellow button right here. Set it. Put it in neutral. You're going to get out of your vehicle. Make sure that there are no overhead obstructions. You don't want to park underneath the power line that's connected to the house, because what happens if it burns? Where's it going to land? Right on top of your truck. And then you're all electrocuted. You're going to go back, you're going to chock your wheels, make sure that your pump don't roll. As you walk back up, you're going to pull your tank to pump valve. What that does is it releases the water out of your tank and into your pump. You're going to get back up in your cab. You're going to flip this switch right here. What that does is it takes your pump from road mode to pump mode. You're going to then place your apparatus back in drive. As you're coming back out of the truck, you're going to make sure that the other guys, they should have already been pulling hose lines, getting them all unkinked, ready to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to open the discharge for that line, which would be this right here. All of our hoses are color coded, so yellow, we'll go with yellow. That way, if you're in a big frantic, you know which valve to pull, that's what you pull. You would then increase your throttle to your desired PSI. On your PSI gauge, it tells you right here, we want you to go to 100 PSI at first. Then you will set your relief valve to help with pressure in case you have to switch to or open another line. That will keep that relief valve will keep that pressure at 100 PSI on that line, and then so forth, so on. You can do that. If you are not getting any water whatsoever, go back, repeat those steps as necessary. I hope that this scenario has helped you. I hope that my demonstrative speech has helped you understand just a little bit of how to operate a pump, and I thank you for watching.
On occasion, you may hear a little bit of audio from another speech that I am looking at to possibly show either today or tomorrow. But in the case of Matt, I thought he did a really nice job of summarizing the task at hand at being a volunteer fireman. A very brisk pacing, quality graphics. You can tell again that he is very conversational. He feels comfortable in front of the camera. So as we saw with teaching a dog a new trick, as we also saw from interior home decorating scheme, let's go from back to front and examine some of his graphics. How to operate the pump, 12 points. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to mention every last one of it, but with that and those 4 different graphics, it gives him options from which to remain extemporaneous. And there he is looking at one of the graphics, which is a valve, looking at the camera throughout, still looking at the camera, still looking at the camera, and then the scenario with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different points, the scenario in chronological order, what might happen when you're called in the middle of the night. When that tone drops, again, 3 different items that he's addressing at the top of the screen. What the pumper looks like, describing it, what the first and second pumpers do, and how many gallons of water, 750, are in the tank. And there's more information. The notes are there for a reason. Of course, he's referring to his laptop, which is connected to the widescreen TV behind him. Background and responsibilities with a number of bullet points, giving him credibility as a speaker. He is the assistant fire chief. He's been on the department. He's a first responder. He's a storm spotter, how you train new members and how you approve members. So a lot of that, as you can see with the closed captioning at the bottom, is going to set up not only the topic, but no matter what you're talking about, again, it's giving you credibility as a speaker for the topic. And there he is with the introduction for the speech itself. Now, before we go on any further, I want you to consider the ways in which these 3 individuals set up their speeches. 2 of them on Loom, where they could do it in the same way that we are right now, And then the third, setting up another element, recording on a cell phone for YouTube. So whatever you feel most comfortable. But again, don't send me anything for the demonstrative speech this week, whether it be day 1 Thursday or day 2 on Friday, unless you feel it is the best representation of what you can do. Now, this is what Matt did, and I'm going to go back to my Yahoo email address. This was September of 2020, and I want to show you what his email looked like when he sent it to me with a link to YouTube. Professor Reppert, my wife and I are children's pastors at our local Assembly of God church. I used our children's church room to do my filming. I've attached my slides for the demonstrative speech. So if you are doing something like he did, which is YouTube, obviously you're going to provide me not only a link to the speech, but you're also going to provide previews for what the slides look like. And hopefully the previews won't take too long, but we'll just wait and see whether or not the graphics come up. They never look exactly the same when you're putting something into preview mode, especially on email, but you get the idea. The beauty about doing something by Loom is that that's taken totally out of the equation. Now let me show you what it looks like when you send something to me on Loom. You actually heard a little bit of this during class. The individual in question
I am also your reigning queen for Miss Purple Hole Pea Festival in...
Let me go back to the beginning. I think the challenge that this person had is that she may have sent it on her cell phone because for some reason in Loom, it never gets quite big enough. And also she did not have access to a webcam. I just want to play about the first 10 to 15 seconds or so.
My name is Cameron Pratt, and I am your reigning queen for Miss Lafayette County for 2019 and 2020. I am also your reigning queen for Miss Purple Hole Pea Festival in Emerson, Arkansas for 2019 and for 2020. This is my demonstrative speech for Speech 1113 for the Fall 2020 semester. In this PowerPoint, I will be explaining to you how to achieve pageant hair. The tools you will need are a curling iron, preferably.
Now, of course, you don't want to call it a PowerPoint. And again, I'm not certain why this didn't become full screen, but let me see if I can find her email. Because, of course, all of you are going to be sending emails to my Yahoo address. You saw Matt's speech, and you also saw the email where he sent me the documentation. Here's an example of what it looks like when you send me something on Loom or send me a link. So Cameron sent me a link to her Loom like this. I open it up, which you saw. But everything is going to wind up in this window for all of the presentations that you give. But the next thing that I want to do is to return to my website. And I want to go back to exactly the place where we left off. Now, again, this is my website that you can access from the syllabus on page 4. Within this window, today's is going to be video D. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week, and then today's will be right here. The reason that I put a Z in front of everything is that I intentionally want all of these videos to be sequential and all the way at the bottom. But when you scroll at the website, this is what you are going to find: videos, audios, and outlines. And we'll look specifically at outline structure tomorrow. If you clicked on any of these right now within this window, these would actually open up separately. What I want to do next is to play something, how it would look when you go to the website. I am going to be doing this from Google Drive. When you're at the website, it will look slightly different, but all of these items are available to read, to examine, to listen, because some of them are demonstrative speech audio, and then a number of them are demonstrative speech video. So a lot of the items that are available to watch are going to be available to view on my website, with representative examples of each speech, as you saw from my YouTube channel. Specifically, teaching your dog a new trick from spring 2021, and picking a color scheme for home interior decor simplified from first summer 2021. But let's go ahead and open up a demonstrative speech video where, like what we saw with teaching your dog a new trick, video clips from the person's cell phone are included within the slides. This is making a shirt using heat transfer video taught during the fall intersession of 2020. Notice how it opens up. Then we'll go ahead and play it.
Hey everybody, my name is Sarah Ellis, and today I'm going to show you a quick little tutorial that explains how to make a shirt using heat transfer vinyl. Our first step is step one. You want to gather all your materials so that you have everything in one place and you're not scrambling around in between the steps to try to get everything together. At that point, it's a lot easier if you just start with everything you need. First off, you're going to need a shirt, just a blank shirt. You can get those at Walmart, online, anywhere, pretty much anywhere it sells plain shirts. Vinyl, you can get an image that's already cut out for places like, I think Walmart and Hobby Lobby have those. Websites like Etsy would have some more custom options on those. Or you can do like I'm going to do in the video today, and you can make your image yourself. That's totally optional. If you're going to do that, you're going to need a vinyl cutting machine, and then you're going to need a heat press. You can technically do these with irons, but a heat press works much better just because of the square that goes down on the shirt. It more evenly distributes the heat than an iron would do, and it gets a lot hotter than most irons are going to get at home too. Step two, you're going to ready your image, whether that be you're going to buy an image online from Etsy like I mentioned before, or you can create your own image. Here in this video, I've created my own image. I actually bought 2 images from Etsy and joined them together and did a few edits to make them fit my specific needs. And then I made sure along the bottom, if you're going to make your own image, you need to check your settings, make sure it's set for what you're doing. So I'm doing heat transfer vinyl, so I need to have that selected in my settings as well as my blade settings, and to make sure that my image is going to cut out a mirror copy. When you cut it out, you're going to pull away the backing and it will leave a mirrored image that you will flip over on top of your shirt. The next video is showing my machine cutting out the image, just to kind of show you how it goes. And once it's done, like I said, I will pull the backing off and then place it on the shirt, which leads us into the next step, which is step 3, which is to preheat your heat press and to get the image on the shirt. I didn't show that part here because while I was recording this, my image was still cutting out, and then I had to pull the excess vinyl away, which is called weeding. So I was still needing to weed the image while this was happening. So this will show you, I just flipped the machine on. I've already kind of selected when I wanted it to heat to, so this is showing that it's in the preheating process. And then you're going to smooth out the shirt. You don't want any wrinkles to be there when you put your image on, because then those wrinkles will be underneath the image and they'll kind of be permanent, and it will prevent the image from adhering fully to the shirt, which is really important for being able to wear it for a long term, because if your image doesn't adhere fully, it's not going to last very long once you start washing and that sort of thing. And you're going to want to double check your placement on your shirt and make sure if you want your image centered, that you're really focused on getting it centered, or if you want it off to the left, the right. Sometimes that requires some measuring, some readjusting, and you just want to double check that before you push the lever down, because once the lever's down, that's kind of it, and that's where your image is going to be. Step 4 is to finally press your image. You're just going to pull the lever down, and then you're going to turn the knob on the top, which adjusts the pressure. You want the pressure to be relatively high because it's going to hold that shirt and the image tight with the heat tightly on top, and it's going to help that image to adhere to your shirt as best as it possibly can, which is going to make it to where you can wear it longer without the image peeling or anything like that. Step 5 is to peel off the plastic backing to reveal your finished product. You're just going to lift it when your timer goes off, and you're just going to, I do right here, I do a hot peel, which is when it's, as soon as it's ready, you just peel it straight off while it's still hot. Some different vinyls are going to want you to do a cold peel, which is where you let it cool first, then peel it. Those instructions are with the vinyl when you buy it, so you just want to make sure you're doing it correctly. It's a smooth finish here. It's stuck on there really good, and that makes my shirt complete. And I'm showing it here with the outfit that I made it for. This is for my 8-year-old daughter, Lila. The Shake It Off is a song title by Taylor Swift. That's her signature at the bottom. I bought those images and then put them on the shirt for her to match a pair of pants that my mom got her for Christmas. So it's a great hobby to have, to be able to do some things at home and to customize things you want, especially if you have kids like me. I have 4 girls, so they're always wanting something. So I hope that you enjoyed this little tutorial and maybe learned something. Thank you.
What I appreciate with the creativity of Sarah's speech, and you saw her last week with Positive Co-Parenting for another graded speech presentation, the creativity, as you saw with Teaching a Dog a New Trick, of incorporating video into the process. Now, it really all depends upon what your topic is, but she did it seamlessly, which shows you that she did a lot of advanced preparation, making certain that whenever she was practicing the speech on Loom, everything was set up exactly the way she wanted it in the slides, playing the video in real time, and then talking over it, so it's relatively smooth. Now let's go ahead and mute her audio and just go back in real time and watch these videos. Let's go ahead and play it. As she is peeling off the image. And for those of us who are untrained in this, we would not know the difference between a hot peel or a cold peel. But a really nice tight shot. So everything on that slide has a professional look to it. And then as we scroll back, same thing. She's describing the process, and then eventually she will raise the device. And then moving back, same thing here. She's setting up the video and then playing it in real time. In this case, looking in reverse chronological order, readying the shirt with the image. and then continuing to move back. This was so interesting how you ready the image, and she played video here too. Not sure exactly where there we go. Now let's go back just a little bit and have the audio picked up in real time.
Selected in my settings as well as my blade settings, and to make sure that my image is going to cut out a mirror copy. When you cut it out, you're going to pull away the backing and it will leave a mirrored image that you will flip over on top of your shirt. The next video is showing my machine cutting out the image, just to kind of show you how it goes. And once it's done, like I said, I will pull the backing off and then place it on the shirt, which leads us into the next step, which is step 3.
So again, letting us visualize what the process is, because you can imagine something like that would save a lot of money in the long run rather than possibly buying it from a store. Occasionally there may be an issue with a vocalic or something like a gona, but the more that you watch these, and keep in mind this is the first of 4 speeches, the more comfortable you are going to be. Pretty much consistent eye contact by her all the way through. And then we'll go back to the beginning and making sure that we are in 000. And then she starts the speech. Loom begins with the timer, very user-friendly on how she is setting up the transition into the first slide. So we'll wait in real time, watch the transition into the first slide, and then pause. With the reminder that anything that is demonstrative speech video on the website goes all the way down alphabetically to teaching your dog a new trick. So some of these are both on my website and on my YouTube channel. Lots of cooking speeches, different types of demonstrations in a variety of areas. Some of these we'll probably also look at tomorrow. But there is an audio-based speech, another audio-based speech, and this one is how to be a mascot from the fall intercession of 2020. So let's go ahead and watch this.
Today I'm going to be teaching you how to be a mascot. My name is Alexis Rowland and I am in your speech class. So my background as a mascot, I was mascot for my high school, my junior and my senior year. I was the basketball and the football mascot, and I was a lion. These are a couple of pictures of me as mascot, and then the skills required that you need to have. I believe that whenever people think of mascot, they think that it is not that hard, and they often underestimate it. But you do have to have a lot of skills in order to become a mascot. You need to have patience. Dealing with kids especially will be difficult at times. I love kids, but they can be annoying at times because they're pulling on your tail, they're running away from you, they're slapping you, they're tickling you. So you need to have patience, and if you don't or cannot gain the patience for the job, then I wouldn't recommend becoming a mascot. You need to be able to withstand heat. Heat is going to be the #1 problem when in a mascot suit. That suit is extremely thick and hot. So whether that be having a camelback or having an ice pack vest, you need to have something to withstand from the heat. You need to be able to handle children. Like I mentioned, children can be annoying at times, but they also have the biggest joy and smile on their face whenever they come to see you. So you need to be able to talk to them without talking to them. So use any form of body language, and you need to be able to get them to have a good time. They are there to see you. So make them happy. That is your job. Your job is to have fun and let others have fun. If you are being miserable, they are miserable. You are there to provide a smile on the fans' face and children's faces, so have some fun with it. You must be able to work with others. If you cannot work with cheerleaders, band members, coaches, fans, teens, kids, then you will not be able to do what you are doing. Even though you are by yourself, technically, you are also still on a team, whether that be the cheer team. You also have to work with anybody. You are still on a team, but you are also by yourself. You must be able to dance or move your body in the slightest. You cannot talk, so any form of nonverbal communication is great if you're using body language, dance moves, any type of movement to communicate is necessary. If you have to do this for more water, if you want to dance, you need to be able to move your body. You need to enjoy what you're doing, have some fun with it. Don't overexhaust yourself. The heat is terrible in that mascot suit, so anything you can do to not overexhaust yourself. If you're jumping too much, if you're dancing too much, and you can feel that you're about to pass out or you're too hot, go to a nearby bleacher underneath and make sure no one can see you. Take off your head and cool off. You need to enjoy what you're doing, have some fun, and you need to be able to keep a secret. If you can't keep a secret, it's going to be very, very difficult to have fun with it, because if you remove the secret aspect, then they know who you are, and now you're going to be embarrassed more easily. So everyone in my high school pretty much knew that I was the mascot. It was very hard to keep it because there's only 35 in my class, and we were a very, very small school. So everyone already knew. The elementary kids did not know because I specifically did not want to tell any of them. But with that being said, if I had kept the secret away from my high school, then I would have had way much more fun with it. I truly believe that if I kept it from my high school, I would have had more of an aspect of mystery, and I could have done way much more with it. So you will need to be able to try out. Once you try out, and if you have any of these skills listed, and if the cheer coach finds you suitable for the job, then you will be hired and you will become mascot. So you need to prepare for each game. Once you have become mascot, you can prepare. Before each game, I would make sure that I had the choreography memorized. This honestly depends on your cheer team and your high school, but personally for mine, I had to have certain choreography while the cheerleaders had other choreography. You may be able to run with it. I did that most games. Or you may have the same choreography as the cheerleaders. It really depends on your school, but before going into each game, I would know if I was going to wing it, if I was going to do a separate choreography than the cheerleaders, or if I was going to do the same choreography. Make sure that you know what you're doing before you enter the game. I also need to make sure that my suit is washed. It is nasty if your suit is not washed because it's stinky and smelly. You don't want that. Also, make sure that your suit is air dried and not dried in the dryer. If it is dried in the dryer, it will shred to smithereens and cannot be worn again. Lastly, fill up your Camelback with water. Camelback is not necessary, but I would highly recommend it. That is the only thing that will cool you off in that suit. If you wear that, or if you wear an ice pack vest, I would recommend personally the Camelback backpack just because it cools you off and provides hydration. And then if you find one that doesn't leak whenever you freeze the bag. But mine that I had would always leak whenever I freezed it, so I had to get one and not freeze it, just fill it up with cold water. At any game, football or basketball, be aware of your surroundings. It is very difficult to see in that mascot costume. You have very small depth perception and you have very small eye holes to see. So you need to have friends on the cheer team or on the band that can move you if there's any inanimate objects being thrown at your face, specifically basketballs or footballs, or if anyone is running to you and they're getting tackled or about to tackle someone. You need to have someone pulling you away or telling you to move. Have some fun with it. The majority of the fans will not know who you are, so it really doesn't matter what you do. Do some fun things. Do a little dance. Have some fun. After the game, leave a couple of minutes before the game ends in order to avoid the crowds in the restrooms. It gets very, very crowded at the end of each game, and it can be very scary if you're wearing a suit and you can't see and everyone is surrounding you. So I personally would recommend going to change before the game ends. Go home and rest. You've had a very long night. You're sweaty, you're tired, take a shower, and wash the suit before the next game. Have a nice day, y'all. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you for listening to my speech of how to be a mascot.
So she cuts it off right there at the end. So I cut off her last phrase so it would not recycle. because that's what happens when it's on my website. Alexis has taken a number of my courses since. She is a mass communication minor. But in her case, the first thing that jumps out is her enthusiasm, her likability, her knowledge of the topic, all the way through the presentation. You will notice that she has her setup in Loom a little different. She forgot to make it full screen, so you see all of the slides in the preview mode on the left-hand side. But I didn't have it negatively affect her grade in any way, just because of the thoughtful, knowledgeable way and the energy that she provided. So you can tell that she was a perfect mascot just from the personal stories that she gave. She couldn't establish as much eye contact as the others because the location of her computer is in a slightly different place than her webcam, so she's not looking up as much as everyone else did. But again, that didn't affect her grade all that much. Let's take a look at her graphics after the game. And there she is moving around with the webcam location. At the games, preparation, skills required, more on skills required. If I was being nitpicky, I'd probably say you'd want to experiment with the location of the webcam so you're more filling up the screen. More on skills required. Lots of bullet points. And then her background as a mascot and the title slide for the presentation.
Teaching you how to be a mascot. My name is.
I wanted to make certain that we got to, there was one
With go home and rest.
One of the slides, I'm trying to get to number 3, but for some reason I'm not seeing it in the slideshow. It skipped over, but that's neither here nor there. We'll take a look at some of these others tomorrow, but keep in mind, as we return to Blackboard, that today we're really looking along the lines of research. What types of research do you think would be appropriate for a demonstrative speech? And along those lines, are you going to be using Loom? Are you going to be using YouTube? And what types of slides are you going to use, whether they be Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Slides or Canva, or might you experiment with different types of themes? I showed you this last week. This is the website called Slides Go for different types of templates from which you may wish to experiment. And if you're using Loom, you will also want to see whether or not you would want to be in the upper or lower reaches of the screen. Ideally, you're not going to block out any graphics. Early on, you're just really getting a feel of speaking to the camera no matter what you're doing. But let's go all the way down to the bottom. Slides Go for infographics. You already need to start visualizing your topic and whether or not you are going to use a particular slide format, and whether or not you are going to use either YouTube, as you saw with Matt's speech on being a member of the fire department, or whether or not you want to utilize this. So one more time, there is the website for Loom, and I'll just go down that far, where you want to place your webcam. Some people will utilize, like me, a ring light. Some of you will not, but whatever is going to be the most flattering visual is something that you all need to start to experiment for the term. Now let's return to Blackboard. As you know, we will always start out by looking at the announcement for the week, but for your benefit, always keep in mind these items. The course itinerary. Today it's research. Tomorrow it is topic selection. Then we get into day 1 and day 2 for the demonstrative speeches. And please make certain that you are giving me material before class. Don't send me something during class. If you're scheduled to speak on day 1, please make certain that I'm getting the information before class so I can, as you've seen with all of these videos, have them set up so we can play them in real time. Because for all of you, depending upon the day that you're going to speak, those of you who are speaking for day 1, you've got 8 hours to put your materials together. Demonstrative is intentional because Thursday and Friday of this week, then we get back to the regular Monday through Thursday schedule for the other presentations. But it's really important as we transition from demonstrative to informative, everyone knows exactly when they're going to speak, roughly the same amount of time in between each graded presentation, so you can build a rhythm, as everyone did here. Some of the presentations that you saw today were from the first summer of 2021 or the fall intersession of 2020, exactly 19 class periods similar to what you have right now. And then when you go to Ultra, click on the vertical bars and go to recordings. Today is going to be listed as session 4. And always remember that the videos are not only available at Blackboard, but they're also available on my website. So the last thing that we're actually going to be examining today is to go back to class on Friday and show you little bits and pieces of our most recent class session, session 3, effective content, delivery, and visuals from Friday. We have started to record the most recent session of SPCH 1113, Introduction to Public Speaking, for the first summer session. It is technically the end of our first week of 5 of instruction. It is Thursday, May 26th, 2022. A reminder that we are only going to be meeting 4 days next week, 8 days, as we start to work on demonstrative speeches. As for your content for the organization, logical, introduction relevant, in a confident manner. Is the content relevant? About more in detail on Tuesday of next week to get.
They were doing nothing. It was basically an extended spring break that lasted a month.
A lot of getting your motion back in your knee workouts, but it is very, very difficult.
Relationship management refers to the ability to develop and maintain good, healthy relationships.
That's what the website looks like.
I had the trait, but that's it. How does the disease affect someone that has it?
Is your design consistency uniform? 13 graded presentations on video each week. And I will give positive constructive criticism, whether it be on Loom, whether it be on YouTube, whether you're using Slides Go, whether you're using Microsoft PowerPoint or Canva, Microsoft, any of the different platforms that are available for you to work on. But we'll get to that next week. In the meantime, don't worry about doing any research. Just start thinking about a demonstrative how-to topic that you might be interested in. And then we will reconvene here on Tuesday of next week at 12 o'clock noon. So have a nice, safe, long Memorial Day holiday. As for SPCH 1113, Introduction to Public Speaking during the first summer session of 2022, that concludes the recording session for today. So a very quick look at what we've been doing during the term. And now, because I am here by myself for the last few minutes, I noticed that the lighting is a little bit different than it has been in the past because, as I'd indicated, I tweaked it before the beginning of today's class. But let's go to the syllabus one final time today because I don't want there to be any confusion about where you send projects, whether it be links on Loom or whether it be to your YouTube channel. Everything goes to my Yahoo address, not my SAU email address, but to my Yahoo address. And let me show you one more time from the syllabus how you can access the data. From the student preview mode, just remember with the syllabus itself, go down to supplemental information. There's the website, which we've looked at today. Twitter, which we have not. We might sneak in a peek there. But my Yahoo address, electronic submission of assignments, Prof. James Reppert, SAU@yahoo.com. And always please check your outgoing email to make certain that you send it to the proper address. Sometimes my Yahoo address may not necessarily recognize an SAU address and it will go to junk mail or it'll go to spam. But I'll double check that to make certain that everything is exactly the way that it is supposed to be. Let's go to my Twitter before we officially conclude. It's not a requirement that you follow me on social media, but I will send out tweets under the hashtag of this course and then click on latest. This is what I did in the past 24 hours. Blackboard screenshot, Summer 1, 2022, Speech 1113, Introduction to Public Speaking. Monitor my announcements daily for updated course information. This is a screenshot of what is available when you click on this course at announcements. How you attend the course live, as some of you do, though it's not a requirement. You recorded archives of the course because that is how I am checking class participation. And virtually everyone is watching all the videos, so we're doing well so far in that regard. And going back here, that's what my social media feed for Twitter looks like. So as we conclude the proceedings, today is technically listed as session 4, where we are looking at demonstrative speech research. Tomorrow will be topic selection. Thursday and Friday, we will have day 1 and day 2 for demonstrative speeches. So please make certain that you're watching the videos, that you're getting an idea from all of these video clips, what format you're going to use, how you're going to be setting up your slides. But most importantly, whenever you're recording yourself on the webcam, send me what you think is the best representation of your delivery style. And watching all of those videos will not make you a caricature of yourself, but will help you in determining when there's a dead spot. How can I remain smooth? Can I juxtapose the sequencing of my slides? Can I, in the case of a couple of today, utilize video, whether it be for hot vinyl transfer, as we saw from Sarah, or as what we saw earlier regarding the teaching the dog a new trick. Any of those, depending upon your topic, depending upon how comfortable you feel incorporating it, certainly is going to help with the process chronologically, starting at step 1 and then going all the way to your final step. And as we saw with our final presenter of the day, Alexis, personality matters. Working the camera matters because it doesn't lie. And you want to make certain that your knowledgeability for the topic from that final version that you send me is going to come through for all of your classmates to see, because that is going to give you in the long run, gravitas, and knowledgeability, and likability as a speaker. We will continue with demonstrative speech topic selection tomorrow on the only Tuesday through Friday week of the course. As for SPCH 1113, Introduction to Public Speaking, for the first summer session of 2022, good luck with your research, and that concludes the recording session for today.